All right. Game four is in the books. The Phoenix Suns fall to the Milwaukee Bucks. You are now in the Sports Brothers and Sisters post game show. Hang on. All right, here we are. We are in the post game show. I'm Mr. 411. She is Lacey Dawson. What's going on, Lacey?
Yes. Not too much, Mr. 411. It was a good game. So I'm thankful for that. And I do have to say the hair and makeup people let me down today. So we're kind of we're in progress. Next time you see me, I'll have this stuff under control.
Oh, I mean, it looks good to me. You know, I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional hairstylist, but
Clearly neither am I.
But I'm a man of style, and as you can see,
Oh yeah,
I'm doing
That's my
well.
next move. If I can't get this stuff under control, I'm going to join you with that doing that ball thing.
Okay, go for it, go for it. But it's looking good over there, looking nice and full, looking full over there. What are you sipping on tonight?
Fullness has never been a problem. We're just having a little vintner's red from the San Sebastian Winery here in beautiful downtown. Well, not downtown, St. Augustine, Florida.
St. Augustine. All right. That's in the Jacksonville area, right?
Yeah, south of Jacksonville, north of Daytona. It's kind of in between. Closer to Jacksonville, though.
All right, cool. All right. Well, we just in here relaxing, and it's post game as normal. You know, that's what we do.
Yeah.
As you can see below, the Suns, they fall to the Bucks 103 to 109. It was a thrilling game. There was a lot of action packed to me. It was a battle between two evenly matched teams, in my opinion. But what did you see? So, what did you see in watching the game tonight?
Well, it was a good game, and they kept it close. You know, I was a little. I was hoping that Milwaukee would have some of the energy from the last game kind of spill over into this one, because they got off to a really slow start, and but they stepped it up in the third quarter, which is kind of what they do, and they were able to hold them off. But it looks more and more to me like as we have discussed, that everybody's going to win at home, and so whoever has the home field advantage is the winner of the series. I mean, that's what it feels like. It feels like, it seems like, and I could be wrong about this, that they kind of save all their energy for when they're at home. And it's like, I can understand wanting to definitely show your fans a good time, but you need to go out there and win games. You need to bring it every time. You need to be able to meet the moment no matter which arena you're in. And but this is something that happens all the time. I guess there's a mental component to the championships that I won't understand. Since I'm sure I'm never going to be in one of these.
Well, it's more of an energy thing, like when you're playing and you're in battle and competing, and you have the fans, cheering for you, and not cheering for the opponent. That gives that extra, just that extra boost, that extra adrenaline, that comfort. And I think also comfortability, like teams are, the home team is generally more comfortable with their surroundings, maybe the way the lighting is in the arena, the basket, the court, just the overall feel. Like I think the home team, and more so, is more to the advantage of the role players, if you will. I think they play better when the fans are cheering for them. You know what I mean, and not for the opponent.
Well, Giannis certainly hits more field goals. Free throws than he does in Milwaukee than he does in Phoenix, because that crowd gets that countdown that they do. It's pretty comical with me.
Yeah,
it gets to him.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you could tell. Like sometimes you could tell when he's shooting those free throws. He tends to try to shoot it in the time that the crowd is counting. Versus
instead of the clock. Yeah.
Right. Or just doing what the officials, because officials have a natural count. It's not exactly 10 seconds on the dot. And then in the NBA, it might vary. It could be anywhere between 10 to 15. But
Hmm.
but yes, I think he tends to rush it a little bit more on the road. And again, like at home, the crowd knows what to do. They know when their team is on the line,
Right.
to dial it down. When the
Yeah.
visitors on the line, they like to get a little rowdy, and that's part of playing in your arena. So I think it's more about that, like you said, it's mental. It's a thing
Hmm.
where you have an adrenaline and a good energy when you're the home team, and when you're down and out a little bit or struggling, you have that
Hmm.
crowd that's going to push you and try to, push you over the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Hmm. But
Well,
yeah, but
definitely.
mhm.
Oh, go
I
ahead. Go ahead.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. As far as I can tell, it's going to be like Phoenix in 7 at this rate. Just because of the home field advantage. I
Okay.
don't. I would love to see Milwaukee play with better energy when they're in Phoenix. I understand that about the crowd and all that, and the home
Yeah.
the home court and all, but you still have to the great ones rise to that and overcome those obstacles. So I would like to see them do it. I just I just I don't understand. I've never played the game professionally, so I don't understand it like you do. You
Well,
know.
I mean, I think it's more so the case of, again, it's just team execution really is the difference, and which teams
Hmm.
are executing, what adjustments are being made. And one of the things that I noticed in this series,
Hmm.
the Bucks have finally decided to not go with Brook Lopez a lot tonight. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And then in the last couple of games, that's the major adjustment that the Bucks have made, and I think that's the move that's really keeping them alive right now. When
Hmm.
Giannis is playing the center position, they are more they're more
Hmm.
active on defense. They're able to recover more. And when I say they, I'm referring to,
Hmm.
Giannis playing the center position versus Lopez. You know,
Right.
uh, and so he can recover and
Hmm.
and make up for a lot of mistakes that the defense, may be under at that time. Because like that was a huge block that Giannis had in the fourth quarter, where
Hmm.
the Suns ran their pistol action, which is a double screen, and then off of that you have Booker. I think it was Booker that was driving. Then he threw the alley oop to Ayton for the dunk attempt. Normally, that's a slam dunk right there. Ayton would have got to the basket quicker than Lopez could recover on that play.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
Giannis, being a lot quicker, more athletic, he's able to recover and meet Ayton at the rim and then make a clean block. So things like that is where the Bucks have been able to pull out today's victory, in my
Hmm.
opinion.
Yeah, he's just spectacular,
Yeah,
Giannis. Really, truly. I mean, it's fun to watch him. It's I mean, even if I was if they were playing against my favorite team, I still would be enjoying him because he's so ferocious.
yes,
I really, I
yes.
really, I really love the way he plays. Hmm.
He always plays hard. He's an all
Hmm.
out type of player, and that's what you want from your best player. You want, what I would, and this is me, right? This is what I want from my best player. I want my best player to be able to play defense. I want my best
Hmm.
player to play offense, and I want my best player to lead my team
Hmm.
and
Right.
always play with energy. And
Hmm.
and Giannis does all of those things. He's has all that rolled into one. I know a lot of times the sports world, the sports media gets on to him about
Hmm.
maybe some of his deficiencies, which may be his free throw shooting. But hey, throughout the history of the game, you have all kind of shooters: Bill Russell,
Look at
Wilt,
Shaq.
Wilt Chamberlain, Shaquille O'Neal. Just to name a
Yeah.
few that
I mean,
are
really,
great
back in the day,
players.
you didn't really expect big guys to be able to shoot free throws anyway. You
Correct,
know.
and that hasn't changed in the history of the game. A
Hmm.
lot of big players have issues shooting free throws, and
Shooting
I
free
think it has
throws.
something to do with the size of their hands. I think that's a lot of it. But throughout the history of the game, big men tend to have problems shooting free throws. That doesn't mean all of them don't.
No.
Yao Ming was a great free throw shooter to be
Hmm.
for a big man, but and
Right.
Dirk Nowitzki for another one. But
Mhm.
across the board, big men are not really great free throw shooters, but they have other attributes, and that's why you have a team. And so, I think a lot of people need to lay off of Giannis when it comes to the free throw shooting aspect, and
Mhm.
really acknowledge him for his offense and defensive prowess.
Yeah. I hear you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the things another thing that I noticed in this matchup, especially tonight's game, is that the Bucks also they're giving Chris Paul fits by having Drew Holiday play full court defense on Chris Paul. He's a bigger defender, he's a bigger
Mm-hmm.
guy, and he's really giving Chris Paul a tough time. He is picking him up full court. He's not really worrying about his offense. In
Mm-hmm.
Holiday, he's really focused on playing defense. And Chris Paul is one of the best point guards in the assist to turnover ratio that we have in the history of the game. But he is really struggling the last couple of games. And even tonight, 7 assists, that's solid, but it's not Chris Paul great. But then you have 5 turnovers to go with that. That's not a great ratio. And if that continues, we could see an upset in game 5. We could see an upset in game 5 if this continues. And it's a downward trend right now. And I would like to see what the Suns will do in game 5 to adjust to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's been so far. It's been a pretty good series, really.
Yeah.
It's interesting enough. They keep enough tension. I mean, other than the other night, and even so, because it's Giannis is out there, even when it's getting to like a blowout proportion kind of situation, he's still fun to watch.
Yes, he is indeed.
So
he's always fun to watch for me.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, good hard worker. And what I love about this series as well, Lacey, is that we have 2 teams here. It's not a star-driven finals, if you will. We have great stories. The Chris Paul story. All the years he's been in the league now and the opportunity to win a championship. You have Giannis with his story, basically coming from nowhere to becoming one of the better players in the league, but not with a star-studded cast, if you will.
Right.
And it makes for a great matchup and gives hope to other franchises across the league that you don't necessarily have to have all the best players on one team and try to win a championship.
Yeah, look at how many of those stacked teams aren't here.
That's right.
Make the final. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, and this is an essence of team here, and so looks like Chris Middleton. If I had to say who's the player of the game, I'll have to go with Chris Middleton tonight. He really stepped up. I know our friend Zach really gives Middleton a tough time, and rightfully so. There's definitely times where he definitely deserves that tongue lashing. But tonight, I think Zach would have been proud of him with the 40 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. 6 rebounds and 4 assists. Excuse me, 4 assists. And he played 43 minutes tonight. So he really, he really played. He gave it his all tonight. Giannis played 42 minutes, and Drew Holiday played 42 minutes. And if we look at Brook Lopez, 19 minutes tonight, which goes back to what we was talking about earlier about the matchup change, the adjustment by the Bucks. They decided to throw the white flag out there and just say, hey, we're not going to go with a huge lineup. We got to go more athletic,
even
more
though
quick.
They could. Yeah. That's not really cost effective in this particular situation, which is smart. It's really because it's really kind of hard to switch it up like that, but that was a very wise decision.
Oh, indeed. Okay. I think earlier we talked about on Twitter we discussed, we put the poll question out there about who was going to score the most points tonight. And it was some of the candidates was it was Chris Paul, Booker, Giannis. And if we go back through and skim through again, it has to come down to either Booker or Middleton. And if Middleton had, how many did I say Middleton had again? I believe
he had 40.
40. So I think Booker would be the player that scored the most tonight. He had, he scored 42. So very close. very close tonight.
Yeah, but in Booker's case, it was in a losing effort. That kind of you gotta add that to the sentence.
Oh yeah, in a losing effort, and it looks like he did the major lifting tonight because Cameron Johnson had 10 points, Chris Paul had 10, and Crowder scored 15. And
Chris Paul only had 10?
Yes, only 10 tonight, and that that goes back to the defense that was played by Jrue Holiday tonight.
Yeah,
I mean, he really gave Chris Paul fits today, and I think they're going to stick with that game plan. They're picking him up full court, Lacey. They're picking him up full court, making him work, and that is a great strategy.
I like it.
Yep, but your 7-game prediction is really looking good. My 6-game prediction is looking a little bleak right now.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's going to be Milwaukee that has to make the difference. They're going to have to be the ones that break the mold.
Yeah,
and win a game in Phoenix. Personally, I prefer it to be the next game, but I don't mind if it goes to 7, but I would rather they have the lead going in.
Okay,
that's just my preference.
Well, that would definitely bring some serious drama to the series if the Bucks happen to pull out Game 5. Now there's a lot of pressure. There will be a lot of pressure on the Suns to win Game 6 on the road, and then you have to turn around and beat the Bucks again in Game 7, which will be at home. But now you're asking the Suns to win 2 straight over the Bucks, which would one of those victories would have to be on the road. So and facing elimination at that point. So that would be intriguing. So
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the next game is Saturday night.
Okay.
It's Saturday night, so they have a couple of days off to regroup, make adjustments, and get ready because we're two victories away from a champion. We're 2 victories away.
Awesome.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get into any other topics, let's.
I'm sorry, I'm having some issues here.
Okay. Well.
Okay, go ahead.
While you're doing that, we'll throw in a cheap plug because that's what we do. You can check us out on the Sports Brothers. We're on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. The Sports Brothers, THA, Sports with a Z, Brothers, AS, the Sports Brothers. And other cheap plugs, you can catch us on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday and Thursday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Whew. I don't know how you guys do that one.
It's amazing how we pull that off.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about it. I know it's on your mind, and it is the topic of Team USA basketball.
OMG. Those guys, I'm like, I don't even know where to start with them. It's like you got to play with more pride than this, even if it's an exhibition. And I understand, like our friend Zachariah was he was of the opinion that since these games don't count, that's not a big deal. And it's not a big deal, but this is what I've heard about all sports. As you practice, as you play, it's like you can't get into a habit. Although I know that they did redeem themselves somewhat. I think it was last night.
Oh, against Argentina? Yeah.
Yeah, but they lost to Nigeria and Australia. And it's just hard to reconcile that with the kind of excellence that we're used to from our U.S. representative team. And so I don't know. It's one of the, but to be fair, I do understand that that some of the people who should be at the participating are actually in the finals. That's my understanding of it.
That is true. So there's Holiday, and Booker, and there's one more player. I believe it's Chris
Middleton.
Yeah, Chris Middleton. So there you go. There's 3 other players that will likely make the Olympic roster that are not playing currently in the friendly matchups, if you will.
Right. and it's so maybe that has some kind of an impact on it. But I just honestly don't understand how we got to this point. Can you kind of like spell it out for me, Mr. 411? Because as I recall it, we used to send our best. And let's face it, what when I looked at that roster about who's over there right now, these are not our best. I mean, you do have Durant and Lillard, and I think Bradley Beal, uh, Bam Adebayo, something
Oh,
like that.
Bam. Yep, Bam.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. Draymond
okay,
Green.
but, huh?
Draymond Green.
I don't even think that I don't feel like Draymond Green is an elite Olympic player, but that's
Right.
my opinion. I'm just saying, he's good for Golden State, and that's where he needs to be. I just don't feel like those that all of the people who are over there are the best representatives of what USA basketball can do.
No, that you're right. You're right about that. Now, the players that are over there, should they be good enough to win all the matchups and not lose a game? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The United States is still the country that can, we can roll out their all NBA players, we can roll out all stars across the board.
And we should.
Right. And we are actually, you know what I mean? Because like Bradley Beal has led the NBA in scoring this year. I mean, Kevin Durant is arguably one of the top 2 players in the NBA. One of the best scorers in the history of the game. 6'11", playing this 2-guard position. There's not too many 6'11" 2 guards in the world, and I don't think any other team would have that other than our team. So just naming those 2 players alone is like, what other country has that? And so it really falls to this, in my opinion. I think that this team, it's not constructed the way it should be, in my opinion. It's too many wing players, if you will. It's too many perimeter players on the team, and there's not any interior players on this roster at this point, as of today.
Okay. So would you explain to me what you consider an interior player?
Well, Bam is as close as you're going to get to that, because he plays closer to the basket for the majority of his of the time that he's on the floor, but he's 6'9". Now, 6'9" is extremely tall and real in everyday life, but in basketball sense, especially at that level, at the world
it's not
level,
overwhelming.
The NBA level, he's considered short. You know what I mean? For a big man, we don't the 6'11", 7-footers.
Is he the center?
He's playing center for the United States right now.
For Team USA, really?
Yes, and Draymond Green is at 6'7", and he's likely the second player that's playing the center position, if you will. So
that's ridiculous.
Right. So USA has a
better than that.
Right. So basically, we're playing with a team full of wing players, and these other countries they have players that are 7 foot. They have a lot of 7-footers, 6'11" guys out there, a lot more size. So if we're not hitting, all the shots or getting good clean looks, or off a little bit, as you see, we lost 2 games already.
We're not gonna get the rebounds. Yeah.
Right. So now when it's time to get out of that slump and give the ball to somebody in the interior and let them, get some easy buckets or some fouls and slow down the momentum of the other team, who are you going to give that ball to do that in the interior? Because Bam doesn't really have a post-up game. And this, you're a Knicks fan, Patrick Ewing. When you think of Patrick Ewing, he had a post-up game. If you think about Akeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, they had games.
I love Akeem Olajuwon.
Right. You can give them the ball in the paint. Now, see, what center is going to do that for USA right now? There's not one. So everything's perimeter oriented, and now you're looking at a hit or miss situation. And then you have a whole bunch of guys that are used to having the volume to take a lot of shots. So now no one's really getting in enough of a rhythm to make a lot of shots too. You know what I mean? So for what I've noticed, they've been taking turns shooting.
Okay, so with this team structured like that, you're obviously supposed to just be shooting lights out because that's all you're allowing yourself.
Right.
And so when you don't have the best shooters in the league, I mean, some of these guys are pretty good, but you're losing, even if it's an exhibition game. I'm sorry. Nigeria and Australia, it's just not a good look. It's not only is it not a good look, but it's like you're exposing yourself.
Yeah.
You're exposing like your weaknesses to other teams, and other people, I won't say they take it more seriously, but they send their best. Other countries are going to be watching that film and saying, "Hey, we can exploit this.
Yeah.
We're going to put our tallest guys out there." Their tallest guy is a guard. It's like, come on.
Well, you have these other.
Actually, Durant is a forward, but
yeah, but you have these other countries too that they take this to heart, if you will. Like I'm not saying that let's give all the credit to our players that are playing now, because they don't necessarily have to be out there, and they are. But if we look at it across the board, though, if you just watch that interview from Patty Mills when Australia defeated United States a couple of days ago, you can see you can feel the passion from him and his teammates about how, even how they didn't get that bronze medal a couple of years ago, and how they're coming back with a mission to get a medal, and how important that is to take that back to their country. And he's a professional. He gets paid playing in the NBA for the San Antonio Spurs, and he can leave it there, but he's going beyond that and talking about how important it is for his country. You look at Luka Doncic.
I didn't know he was Australian.
yeah. And you go back to Luka Doncic. He's over. He helped Slovenia qualify for the Olympics, and they basically threw a party for that. But that's the passion that they have for this. Luka
That's
Doncic,
the mentality. Yeah, it's
right.
Like the Olympics is important, and particularly after the year that we've been through with the pandemic. Let's get out there and show our stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that Team USA isn't going to ultimately win, be in the medals, but I don't know if they're going to get to gold, honestly. Just the way that they're not, I'm not saying they're not taking it seriously. Some of their best players are still playing in the finals, in the championship. So
yeah.
But it just feels like America as a whole is not taking the Olympics as seriously as they should.
Well, we
should be sending a better team.
Well, I mean, Stephen Curry should be out there. LeBron James should be out there. You have Zion Williamson that's not out there.
Now that I don't understand why he's not out there. It's like I can understand LeBron. I guess I can understand Steph. I mean, I know LeBron has a couple of gold medals already.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's where it lies, though. Because you imagine if Steph Curry was playing now, and LeBron was playing now, and Zion was playing now, John Morant was playing now, Towns, that plays for Minnesota, the 7-footer in the middle. Can you imagine if they were on the roster, and you made some more, they was included into this roster, and then you still had a Bradley Beal and a Kevin Durant, and now certain players like a Kyrie who's injured and Klay Thompson is out. We can't. It's hard to hold anything against them right now, but
no, absolutely. I mean, you can't hold it against them if they're injured.
Right.
But
Jimmy Butler, a two-way player who plays defense and offense. He's not out there. Yeah.
I just feel like whatever the process is by which they are making these decisions, the process itself is the problem. Because this is the United States. It's like our whole team should be like superstars and people who can carry a team on their. Every one of them can carry a team on their own. Now, I understand that wouldn't really work. You have to have some worker bee types, to kind of to calm things down. But still, there should be there's no way we should lose to anybody, exhibition or no. And so it concerns me that we've gotten away from sending our best to just kind of phoning it in, and eventually somebody's gonna hang up on you when you're phoning it in. It's like and so I feel like we're not, the U.S. Team USA isn't taking it seriously, not by the team members themselves. They are who they are, and I know that they're all great players individually. However, when you're sending the best in the world, you're going up against the best in the world, the best in every country. They're sending their very best.
Well,
Nobody else is throwing it in.
and they're also playing their best. And like, if you watch it, go back and watch, and you have YouTube TV as well as I do. You can go back and watch the game whenever you have time. But if you watch Australia, the ball movement, the player movement, they were consistently on the move, and they forced USA to really have to play some defense. And when you watch USA on the offensive end, it's easier to play defense against them at this point, because you could tell, you could see it. It's like one-on-one. I'm gonna try to get this bucket. I'm gonna try to get this bucket. But if you watch Australia, they passing, cutting, swinging the ball. They're constantly moving. They're one on the one accord on the defensive end, and that was the difference in that matchup. Now the Nigeria matchup, they probably sleepwalked through that, and got caught sleeping, and Nigeria hit 17 3-pointers in that in that game. So
yeah,
that was an outlier, but you still shouldn't be in that situation either.
Hi, Coy.
Coy is in the building, and Coy, we want your take on Team USA. We've been discussing it over the last couple of days. So if you're out there, give us your take on Team USA. And Lacey, you just mentioned something about that. You said that you're not certain if they're going to win gold or not. That's a interesting statement to make right about now. And if you go back to 1992, 1996, you wouldn't have said that.
No.
So that's amazing that you can even say that, and really that is a real statement that could be made.
Yeah. And it's honestly it's based on the roster and based on what they've shown so far. I understand exhibition doesn't really matter, but it does.
Yeah.
You practice. It's just one of those things. It's like you get used to playing a certain way, and it's substandard, and you did it 2 games in a row. So that's not a fluke,
right?
Know? And then you beat up on Argentina, and that's great. But it just feels like they don't have the kind of depth in their roster where, like, if they get behind outside of Lillard and Beal and Durant, they're not going to be playing 48 minutes anyway.
Right.
The rest of the guys are going to have to really step up. So we'll have to see how that goes. I still have faith in Team USA, but again, I don't know if it'll be gold. Based on very small sample.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
What I want to see. Not liking what I've seen so far.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough talk. It's going to be a tall task. And with the Olympics coming up very soon here, it's going to be a tall task. They're going to France is going to be one of those teams that you have to look out for. They have Nicolas Batum. They have Rudy Gobert in the middle. So that's going to be tough. You have Australia, who has Aaron Baines, who didn't even play in that friendly matchup against USA when Australia won. Then again, you mentioned Patty Mills. They have Exum, who was a top 5 pick at one time. You have Dellavedova, who's a veteran. Let's see, Joe Ingles, who plays major minutes for the Jazz. And I'm leaving out another one, but they have a lot of professionals on their roster as well. So to me, those would be 2 teams that they really have to look out for, and going to have to play solid team defense as well. It can't just be thinking that, USA is going to just run a score up, because it's a different game. That's another thing too. International ball is a different game than the NBA. It's a lot shorter, so there's not much time to fall behind and then try to catch up. Right. And it's officiated differently, and there's a lot of other rules, subtle rules, like you can knock the ball off of the rim, and there's a lot of other things involved in this type of ball.
He said, "Our team is the best in one play." You're right. Our team is supposed to be the best.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't think that we sent our best team. But our team is the best.
Well, I mean, you have to, if you go back to 1992 to now and look at the international landscape, it has changed so much. Look at the 2 centers that are, just look over the years. Think about some of the league MVPs. They were from other countries. Steve Nash, Canada. Nowitzki,
I love
Germany.
that.
Yeah, yeah, Nowitzki from Germany. You know, Germany. You have Giannis, who's he's I think he represents Greece, but he's also has a Nigerian. You know, a Nigerian in him too as well. So, like, I mean, you know, you have these guys, and that's MVPs of the
Right.
league. You know, then you have the
Mhm.
Joker, who plays for I want to say Serbia, but Jokic from the Nuggets. You
It's one
know,
of those, yeah.
so I mean, another international player. That's not even to talk about the Ginobilis, and
Oh
we can
God,
go
I
all day.
remember Gino.
We can go all
Wasn't he
day. I mean,
Argentina also?
he was, yeah. Argentina used to have a real tough team in his heyday. Yeah, in that
Mhm.
2000s, that early 2000s, early to mid,
Mhm.
from 2000 to 2010, they had a really tough roster. And
Okay.
Spain used to be tough. Don't forget the Gasols, Mark Gasol and Pau Gasol, and Ibaka played for Spain. I mean, so we have our hands full, but the international game has improved across the world, and so we just can't just roll anybody out anymore. We have
No.
to,
Mm-mm. You
we
can't take
gotta come
anybody
with
for
it,
granted.
right? All right, that was a good discussion on Team USA. Want to go back to the Suns and the Bucks? Any other comments you want to make on that?
No, I'm just looking forward to the next game. You said it's going to be on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday night.
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna have to like after the game, we're gonna talk and say, okay, I'm gonna have to like slow my consumption down until
Oh
after
wow.
the game. Cheers.
Yeah, how about you? Do like Team USA and
Hmm.
just get a later start on your intake.
Oh, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I don't even start until we start.
Okay. All right. That'll work.
Mhm.
That'll work. We do appreciate Corey checking
Yes,
in.
we do.
He's a loyal gentleman and
Yes.
great supporter. That there's a song that I think Drake, that the artist is Drake, and he'll say started at the bottom, now we here. You know, and
Okay.
and Corey is going to be one of those that was there when we started at the bottom.
Which is, it's an awesome place to be right now.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But we really do appreciate Corey.
Hmm.
All right, let's take a look at. Let's see who else did anything tonight or didn't do anything that's
I
out of the
mean,
ordinary.
I feel like the whole Chris Paul thing is really the biggest. If somebody was going to be disappointed in somebody's performance, I feel like Chris Paul is that person
Yeah.
for his team. It's like you have to step up in these moments. Again, go back to meeting the moment and understood that Drew Holiday had like just lights out, but he shut him down. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's a big deal because sometimes when somebody figures you out like that, they kind of own you. So we'll have to see if that was for real and if Chris Paul can make the adjustment because they're going to continue to do that. At least
Yeah.
if they're smart, they are.
Yeah. They definitely. I would roll that out. I wouldn't even. I would talk to Holiday over the next couple of days. Let him get some rest.
Mm-hmm.
He won't run any offensive plays or anything. He's going to be. I would have him just relax and feet up for the next 2 or 3
Mm-hmm.
nights. And
Mm-hmm.
on Saturday, all you do is play defense on Chris Paul. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about anything else because he is the head of the snake. And again, see, Booker scored a lot tonight, and Booker has a great versatile game, and I like his game because he's
Mm-hmm.
able to make the mid-range shot. He was shooting off the
Yeah.
dribble. He can shoot. He can pull up and shoot a jumper. He has a nice game, nice package of offense. But Chris Paul is really the key, and I think them
Yeah.
focusing on Chris Paul, keeping his turnover ratio at an awful rate, is
Well,
really
he's the
what
point.
keeps the game close. Yeah,
Yeah, he's the floor general, and it's like if you can keep him off balance, you're going to keep their whole offense off balance, and they
that's
kept
right.
it just enough off balance to get the win.
Right.
You know, so they need to continue to do that. But you know, you can't get to Phoenix and forget how to play defense. So it remains to be seen whether they will be able to carry that out.
Yeah.
I hope they will. But
Well, I anticipate Game 5 being a good game.
mhm.
I really do. I think the next 2 to 3 games, we know we have 2 more games for sure.
For
But
sure.
if it goes 7 like as you predicted, Lacey, I think we're gonna have 3 very good games and 3 entertaining games to close out
Yeah,
the NBA to close out
I'm
the
looking
NBA
forward to it.
season.
But let
Yeah.
me ask you. So I remember there was a point earlier in the game, and I missed some parts of the fourth quarter because I was trying to get my hair under control because hair and makeup didn't show up. But
Okay.
um, what did you think about the officiating of the game? Because earlier on there was a lot of complaining by some of the players, and I felt like Milwaukee was getting more calls, being on the receiving end of more calls than Phoenix was, and I know that is one of your areas of expertise, Mr. 411. So tell me what you thought about the officiating of the game.
Oh, you gonna say one of my areas of expertise?
One of many.
Full disclosure, I do officiate basketball, and I've done it for a long time. And I think the officiating, and I'm not just saying this because I'm an official. I think the officiating was fine.
Okay.
Players are always going to complain. Fans are going to complain,
Mm-hmm.
because you're looking at a lot of judgment calls, and
Mm-hmm.
so there's a lot of things there about judgment. There's a lot of factors involved when you processing as an official and making your decision. Is the defensive player in legal guarding position, and did they obtain and maintain that legal position, or did they maintain their verticality, which is the area that they're entitled to as well. So, but to answer your question, I think that the officiating was fine. Now,
Okay.
were there some moments in there that we could discuss? Like, I don't know if you remember seeing that play where Devin Booker, at that point he had 5 fouls, and in the NBA,
Oh,
after
right.
6 fouls, you're disqualified. And there was a
Right.
play in there where Booker, it was on a transition play. I think the Bucks maybe got a turnover, picked up a turnover, and it was off to the races. And
Mm-hmm.
it appeared that Drew got fouled on that play,
Okay.
but the ball was, I guess, deflected back, and then Giannis picks it up and slams it. So they got their 2 points, but they didn't get that 6th foul on Booker at that point.
Oh, I know what play you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that play?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think because they got the 2 points. It's like, but yeah, it could if you'd have called the foul on Booker, then it would have nullified the 2 points. It wasn't a shooting foul at that time. I can't remember.
If the foul would have been called, it would have been a shooting foul, and Booker would have been disqualified from the game because that would have been his 6th personal foul.
Okay, gotcha. Mm-hmm.
If that same play happened in the first period, I believe the foul would have been called. In that scenario, I think the officials
did they just say let them play?
They let that play out, and the Bucks got their 2 points, and Booker was not disqualified from the game, if you will. Okay. So I think that's what they did in that scenario. Now if anybody would say, hey, that's a foul, I can't really argue with that, because he did have, initially it looks like he blocked the shot with one arm, but the other arm he had wrapped around the player. So that was the foul. But again, I'm looking at that on TV from my couch. I got the angle from the camera angle from the side. The official may not have saw the arm wrapped around on the inside. You know what I mean? So we have to kind of think about it that way too. That official may not have saw that inside arm wrapped around there. Leave the benefit of doubt there. But
okay, all right. Well, no, that's good stuff. I was wondering how you saw it, because it's like one of the things that I'm going to look for in the next game, because officiating, I know it's difficult, and but you have to, there has to be integrity there. So
Yeah.
You know, as long as if they're calling it the same way, but both sides of not the field, that's football, but you know,
The court,
both ends of the court. You know, as long as they're calling it the same way, you know, if you're going to let this guy get away with a little push here or whatever, then you know you got to do it both ways. So
yeah, it's a fine line.
I was curious about that because there was a lot of I could see a lot of like kvetching on the court, you know, complaining. It's like,
yeah,
okay.
But when you're not going to see that, you know what I mean?
Well, that's true. I guess I just noticed it more.
Oh yeah, well definitely, but you know, it's not that the officials don't miss plays because you know, again, like I just said there, I mean, true serum, there was a foul in there. If the referee called a foul, there wouldn't have been no issue.
Right.
But even when but they did a great job in that by letting it play out. They probably kind of just hesitated a little bit just to see what happens. Then if they need to come with it, they could have. But the Bucks got what they wanted on that. They got the 2 points. There was another play late in the game where it looks like Giannis on the inbound play with about 13 to 15 seconds left in the game. Looks like he never stepped. I mean, it looks like he stepped in bounds. He had 1 foot in and 1 out, and then and inbound the ball. That was missed, possibly. You know what I'm saying? That was a possible miss there. And then there was a play where Phoenix had on that same play, they trapped the player. I forget the player's name for the Bucks. That was trapped, but neither Chris Paul or Johnson fouled the player yet. But I believe the official anticipated a quick foul because it was late in the game. Right. And I've been there before and done that. Like it's like, man, I know they're trying to stop the clock, so they get up on that player, quick whistle, and I think that referee would have, if he had another chance, he would have pulled back on that because I saw Chris Paul complain about that, and when I saw the replay on that, neither player did foul at that point. So, you know, but that's a couple things that I saw. More than likely, because with 13 seconds left in the game, you have in the NBA 8 seconds to get across. So let's just say they use 7 seconds. Now you're down to 6 seconds and you're down by 4 or 5 points.
I mean, they were going to foul.
You need to foul. Yeah.
That's standard. You know?
Yeah.
There's no guesswork in that, and there's nothing unusual about that. It would be more unusual if they didn't at least try to.
Yeah.
You know.
That's true. And I'll tell you something else that you can do, and the listeners can do this as well. There's something on NBA.com called the last 2 minutes report. And all you have to do is go to Google, type in NBA last 2 minute report. It'll send you over to the NBA website, and you can see the report of games each day where the officials or the director of officials or whoever's over that, they put out a report for the last 2 minutes of the game. And there's different when plays are done, whistles are blown, calls are made. They'll list that play, who was involved with it, what the official call was, and was that a correct call or incorrect call? You know, so you can go back and look at that as well.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, Mr. 411, it has been a very pleasant evening. I do miss Zachariah, but it's been a very lovely evening. And since my glass is now empty, I feel that this conversation needs to come to an end.
Well, we're getting there. Yeah, we getting there, so you can get your refills in. We've done our time, if you will. And I know you have more to go, if you will. You got to get into overtime, but you know Zach will be back. You know Zach was being a team player for his league tonight. You know they were shorthanded. They were shorthanded, and Zach needed to be out there on the floor. And we'll get the box scores on tomorrow and find out how he did. You know, and Zach will be on. He will be on Thursday morning.
Oh, so y'all gonna be on at like 7 a.m. for real?
Yeah.
And I can't Corey, rely on it. I'll be asleep.
But you'll get the re-air, and Corey will be in the building that in the morning. So
well that'll be exciting. I am looking forward to hearing it.
All right. Well, look, we'll get together for game 5, right? Post game
Saturday night.
All right, we're looking forward to that. All right.
Oh, me too.
We thank everybody for listening. For Lacey, I'm Mr. 411. Have a good night.
All right, ciao.